What's going on, YouTube? Happy Friday, everybody. It's another wonderful weekend, and I hope we're all doing great. Today, we're going to be identifying two ghosts with no evidence, no sanity, no hiding, and no grace period by 10.62 times multiplier. And before we even get into any gameplay, I'm going to go over my custom settings, what I use to get the 10.62 times multiplier, and I'm going to talk about my equipment and why it's my preferred equipment to use in any gameplay. Then, when we get into the actual no evidence runs themselves, I will do my absolute best to describe why I'm eliminating each ghost type and why I think it's the ghost type that it ends up being at the end of the round. I do very educational style content, so hopefully you find it beneficial, and let me know down in the comment section if you ever have any questions as we go along. So first and foremost, let's get into the custom settings. So here we have our 10.62 times multiplier. At any point, if you want to pause this and take some screenshots, you can mimic this kind of settings in yourself. Feel free to do so. Starting sanity is 0. Sanity pill restoration is 0, and sanity drain is max. The reason we do this is so there's no way to ever regenerate sanity, even if we wanted to. So that means if you're going to do Moroi testing, you cannot take sanity pills to do Moroi testing. You have to rely on other means. This gets you your highest multiplier. That's why I run this. The sprinting is on. Player speed is 100%, and 100% is normal speed. Flashlight start on. The reason I use flashlight starting on, and honestly, you could probably turn this off if you're doing solo gameplay if you wanted to, is because I really don't need flashlight in solo gameplay, but when I'm doing content creation here on YouTube, over on TikTok, or on Twitch, or elsewhere, I find it beneficial that way you can all see what I'm looking at very clearly. My biggest fear is that it's going to be too dark and you're not going to be able to see the ghosts' blinking patterns or any Obaki shapeshifts, things of that nature. I want you as a viewer to be able to see the best of your ability, so the flashlights always remain on. Lose items and consumables always on unless you want it to be a 0 times multiplier. The ghost speed is going to be 100%. That's normal ghost speed. Roaming frequency is high. Changing favorite rooms is high. Activity level is low. Event frequency is low, and this makes it very difficult to get that objective to get a ghost event to happen. Some ghosts are more prone to doing ghost event than others. I find that if you go and put yourself in the ghost's location, wherever its favorite ghost room is, even on this high difficulty multiplier, you're going to have a better outcome of possibly getting an event than if you were all the way on the opposite side of the map. That's just my experience. So if you're really struggling to get that ghost event, please make sure you go inside the ghost room, stay there for a couple minutes to see if you can get something to happen. Typically, it will. Grace period is also 0, and what grace period implies is if you ever have a ghost, shut the front door and start a hunt. You're going to notice that on a regular round of Phasmophobia, the ghost's going to start making a lot of singing sounds, going to be making a lot of gargling noises, whatever audio it's choosing, but it's not going to manifest yet. It's not going to be there. That time period between when the front door slams and locks in place, letting you know the hunt has started, the time period between when the door locks and when the ghost actually manifests itself to start moving and finding players, that is a grace period. So if you have a 5-second grace period, hypothetically, the door will lock, you'll hear the ghost making its hunting sounds for 5 seconds, but it will not physically manifest for 5 full seconds, and then the hunt will start. Now, the purpose of a grace period is to give you reaction time, the ability to get out of the way, to run, to find a hiding spot, any opportunity to survive that hunt. If you don't have any grace period, you have no reaction time whatsoever. And if the ghost spawns on top of you and the hunt starts on top of you, you are unalived immediately, and the round is over. That's why it's so important to play with crucifixes on top of you, and we'll get into that when we get into gameplay. Evidence is 0, of course, 0 evidence round. Setup time is 0. Weather is fog. I like to do weather is fog in case I'm doing a campsite map. It makes it a little bit brighter outside so I can see better without flashlights. But if you want to do heavy rain to get a bigger multiplier, feel free to do so. It's your gameplay. You could do whatever weather you'd like. It doesn't make that much of a difference. Door starting open is going to be high. Number of hiding places is none, which means you can still use natural hiding spots that are always going to be there no matter what. The biggest example I can think of that most people would probably know is inside the nursery in Tanglewood. You can hide behind that changing table. That is a natural hiding spot that'll never be blocked off that sometimes does work. Most natural hiding spots aren't a guaranteed survival rate, but it does go ahead and give you an opportunity to possibly survive when you have no other options available. And another natural hiding spot that people don't really think is a hiding spot would be crouching below a countertop in Tanglewood, Willow, or any of the maps that have countertops available for you to loop around. Crouch looping is considered natural hiding. Sanity monitor is off. Activity monitor is off. You won't have any sanity, so you don't need that anyway, and the activity monitor really isn't that big of a deal because you're going to be doing a lot of ghost tests that won't require that at all anyway. Fuse box is going to start on. I have the fuse box starting on so you can test for Jinn the moment you enter the location on the very first hunt, and if the fuse box ever gets turned off, you will know that you do not have a Jinn. Also, if a ghost ever turns on a light switch anywhere inside the location, you know you don't have a mirror because they can't do that. So it gives you a lot of opportunities for a lot of ghost tests right out of the gate. and then the fuse box visible on map is off. I don't really need to know where the fuse box is going to spawn specifically on the map. It's not really that big of a deal. I find it better to get a higher multiplier and just go find it in all the possible locations myself. So you can go ahead and turn it on if you'd like to, but I keep it off. So this is going to give you a 10.62 times multiplier. Now, let's go ahead and do a random map and get on into the game here. We're doing random, and it's going to be Maple Lodge Campsite. Not too bad. Not too bad. Definitely not my favorite, but not bad either. Here is my preference equipment when it comes to all no evidence gameplay, and to be honest, evidence gameplay as well. So I'm going to explain why I'm using some tier 2 over tier 3, and I'm going to start first right here at the incense, because it's the biggest question I get. Tier 3 incense, when you repel a ghost during a hunt, will stop the ghost from moving for at least 5 seconds. 7.5 seconds if it Moroi. And there's so many situations you wouldn't want to stop a ghost from moving if you repel it. I'm going to give you an example. Let's go back to that example of Tanglewood inside the nursery behind that changing table. Let's say for whatever reason the ghost knew you were behind the changing table. You repel it. Now you cannot have the ghost move away. It's not going to roam out of the room after you repel it. It's going to stand right there. Its eyes are going to be looking directly at you. And the moment the repel is over, it's going to come and get you. That puts you in a situation where you have to run through the ghost and outside the ghost room in 5 seconds. And you're probably not going to make it that far away because it's only 5 seconds to go ahead and make something happen. Now, I know that's a little bit of a more niche situation, but it does happen quite frequently in different spots and in different scenarios of gameplay. Also, if you're trying to do tests for Poltergeist, or you're trying to see how much the ghost is going to interact with during a hunt, it's not ideal to stop its movement from happening because then it can't move to get closer to anything. So it's better to use a tier 1 or a tier 2 in those scenarios because you want to see how much it's going to engage with so you can build a profile on the behavior of what the ghost actually is. So there's so many scenarios why you wouldn't want to stop the ghost from moving. Next up for tier 2 equipment here, we're going to talk about the tier 2 head camera. Tier 2 head camera is a built-in flashlight. Tier 3 head camera is a night vision goggle. The night vision goggles actually restrict your player's field of view, makes your screen a little bit shorter and a little bit more compressed. I don't like that at all. Also, if you're wearing tier 3 night vision goggles and the ghost is hunting, you're going to have so much electronic disturbance on those night vision goggles that it looks like you're looking at almost a black screen and you can't see anything at all. This is not nearly as bad. Obviously, the flashlight's going to blink, but it's still going to give you a little bit of light to see the ghost periodically, whereas with the tier 3 night vision goggles, you don't see the ghost at all. So I prefer these when it comes to electronic disturbance during hunts. Next, we're going to talk about crucifixes. I bring tier 2 crucifixes for one ghost only. It's for Onryo testing. When Onryos are being tested, they cannot hunt within 4 meters of a lit flame. So in order to do an Onryo test, you want to put the crucifix and a lit lantern on top of each other. That way, if the ghost eats the crucifix but doesn't blow out the lantern, you know that it prioritized the crucifix before the lantern. And that's not how Onryos work. Onryos have to prioritize blowing out a candle before they eat a crucifix or try to hunt. So that's how you could do that test seamlessly, because the tier 2 crucifix covers 4 meters of protection, and so does the candle. So they're going to match exactly if you put them on top of each other to do a test. Outside of that, that's pretty much all the tier 2 gear I use. Everything else you see here is tier 3 to some level. If you wanted to go ahead and use the tier 2 UV, I think the tier 2 UV is better than tier 3 UV, but we're not getting any evidence here, so it doesn't really matter. Let's go ahead and start off with getting started here. So let's start off with what are we bringing in first to get this round going? Flashlight, incense, igniter, which is not going to take up inventory spot. That's right, an igniter does not occupy an inventory spot, so you can carry 3 things and an igniter. So right now I have incense, salt, flashlight, and igniter. We got 4 things in there. Also, for all arguments purposes, if you wanted to ditch your flashlight and take the tier 3 head camera instead, you could take 1 more item with you if you wanted to. Now, I'm not going to do that because I find that this is going to be probably better lighting for you all to be able to see this round. So I'm going to take the tier 3 flashlight with me, but if you wanted to, you could. So we're going to go over here to the front gate. I like to start by throwing most of my stuff here. Like, I'm going to go in with a incense, the flashlight, and I'm probably going to go with the crucifix. So everything else that I don't need right now is going to get thrown through the gate. And the reason for that is because I want to have as much stuff on site as possible, because we're playing with 0 sanity and 0 grace period. The ghost is going to keep chain hunting over and over and over again, and I want to have enough stuff on site to make my time worthwhile between those hunts. So we don't want to keep running back to the van. It's not going to be a good use of our time. We're going to bring both crucifixes in. One crucifix is going to stay outside here with me, and I'm going to carry it in my main hand when I go in. The other crucifix is going over the gate in case the ghost spawns right there, so it stops the hunt from happening. Because like I said, 0 sanity, it can hunt the moment you walk in. Other incense is going inside. I always want to have 2 incenses on site at all times 1 for protection, 1 for a repel timer for spirit and demon. And we'll get into those tests later on. Give me a photo camera to take some photos. What do we have here for objectives? Firelight. So I need 1 firelight for an objective, which is perfect because we're going to need 1 to test for Onryo. I'm going to bring 1 motion sensor to see if the ghost is doing any roaming abilities for Banshee or for Phantom. That's good to know. The salt we brought in earlier on is the test for Wraith because the Wraith can't walk in salt, so that's going to be done. And we're throwing all this stuff in. The last few items I'm going to want is a parabolic microphone. This map is very flat, so having a parabolic of any tier is going to be very beneficial to get a directional hearing sense of where the ghost is coming from during a hunt. So we're taking parabolic microphone. And I guess since I don't really need anything else right now, we may need a video camera later on to prove or disprove Mimic, but I'm not going to bring in it right this second. So instead of bringing that right now, we're going to bring in another salt and another incense, because we know we're going to need those. We're probably going to use all the ones we have on this round. Getting set up for the round sometimes takes longer than the round itself does, depending on what kind of ghost you get. Because some ghosts are very easy to identify, some take a little bit longer with some more testing for numerous different hunts. Here we go. No evidence, no sanity, no hiding, no grace period. 3, 2, 1. Now notice I have my crucifix in my hand right now, and if you're asking yourself, Bro Tater, will that actually stop a hunt? The answer is yes, it will. You do not have to place it in order to stop a hunt from happening. It just has to be active in gameplay. Parabolic is going on, and I can already hear the ghost's footstep sounds. Right now it's hanging out by the bathroom. This is why the parabolic comes in clutch for medium size or bigger maps. I just got a parabolic response. I think it's on the other side of the wall here. Yeah, it's definitely on the other side of this wall barrier of the bathrooms. It's by the tents right now. The ghost is able to detect my electronics. It's starting to walk its way around the bathroom. And before you know it, it's going to pop out right there. There it is. So I think it's pretty safe to say that it's not going to be a yokai, because yokai cannot detect electronic usage from over 2.5 meters away during an active hunt. And 2.5 meters in Phasmophobia is about the size of the dining room table in Ridgeview. Let's go and eliminate that right now. Yokai is out. Also, we know now that the ghost is normal speed. It didn't sound super fast or super slow. It's at a relatively normal speed. So we can say that it's not going to be a Moroi, because Moroi speed is determined on your sanity level. Since we're on 0 sanity, it would be much faster than it is right now. Same thing with the young Fae that has not been aged inside the ghost room. Would be a lot faster right now than this ghost is. And the moment the Revenant would have detected my electronics from across that wall, it would have went to 3 meters a second and rushed to my location at incredibly fast speeds. So no Revenant. The Deogen is the easiest ghost probably in the entire game to rule out, because the Deogen always knows where you are. If the ghost is ever roaming around looking for players, you don't have a Deogen. Hunting again. Let's see if we can get some salt down to test for a Wraith early on here. Maybe I'll put the salt right here. Sounds like it spawned just on the other side here. Yep, there it is. It's coming. Let's see. And I'm going to have a timer ready to do a repel timer. It walked in the salt. It is not Wraith. And look at those blinking patterns. It's very obvious that it's not going to be Phantom or Oni, because Phantom would disappear for 2 full seconds every time it disappeared during a hunt, whereas the Oni would be super visible. We're going to loop it around this table for a little bit. It's done. Now, when I repel the ghost, I hit the start time on my timer to see how long it's going to take it to hunt again. If it takes it over 3 minutes to hunt at a 0 sanity round, there's a very good chance it's going to be a spirit. A spirit cannot hunt for 3 minutes after being repelled. The demon, on the other hand, can hunt 60 seconds after being repelled. So we're looking to see when it's going to hunt. And I feel like I just heard a door touch of some variety. I don't know if that was from the bathrooms or if that was from this door right here. I'm not sure. Either way, let's go ahead and eliminate some ghosts real quick. It stepped in salt, so no Wraith. No Phantom blinking as we discussed. No Oni blinking as we discussed. And it's not going to be Raiju either. I had my flashlight on during that hunt at some points in time. The Raiju would have sped up so quickly around active electronic equipment during a hunt, and it didn't do that. Now, please note when I say active electronic equipment, I mean electronic equipment that you bring from your van. If it goes ahead and it turns on this lantern here, it's not going to speed up from that because it's not considered your playable electronic equipment. We're going to open up this door as well. I find it so much easier to determine when it's hunting and when it's not by when the door actually slams and when it's open. We have an event. Photo. We got a photo of the ghost there. Notice that the ghost slammed the front door there, the front gate, when it evented. The reason for that is when the ghost events, oftentimes it'll slam nearby doors closed to go ahead and make it seem like it could have been a Yuri ability, but it wasn't. We need another incense now. It's been over 1 minute and 45 seconds since I repelled the ghost during that hunt, and it still has not hunted. It's evented, but it hasn't hunted. I feel like it's not... It's hunting now. 1 minute and 49 seconds, so it's not going to be spirit. Now, I want to loop this ghost for a little bit longer to see if it's going to be Obake shapeshift. Because an Obake will shapeshift guaranteed on the 12th blink of the hunt. And then periodically after that as well in a couple more spots. Now, we've seen more than 12 blinks now for sure. It is not going to be Obake. Let's repel. And kind of crouch behind here. Hopefully it'll go away. We're going to do another repel time. Still knows where I am. Thing with this looping spot is honestly just keep going in the opposite direction of where it's going and it'll keep going the long way around. We're done. I started another repel timer when I repelled the ghost. The reason for that is I want to double check for demon. Now it didn't hunt within 60 seconds after the first repel. So it can't be ruled out for demon just yet because sometimes you have a lazy demon that's not doing what it's supposed to do. But for the time being, I can say with great certainty it's not going to be spirit because it hunted way less than 3 minutes. Also, this ghost has some loud footstep sounds. I'm able to hear its footsteps from pretty far away. But that means it's not going to be a Myling. Myling has those quiet footsteps. Obake would have shapeshifted in that hunt there that we saw. No Obake either. And the ghost seems to be getting faster the longer it sees us during an active hunt, which is called line of sight speed. And that means that it can't be a Hantu because a Hantu doesn't have that ability. I'm going to put down a motion sensor here. I want to see if it's going to trip it off. I want to know if the ghost is roaming back and forth to me from that area where I think it is to this area. Because if it does it more than once, a couple times, could be Banshee roaming, and we may want to listen for a Banshee scream on Parabolic as a result. Putting down more salt for more photo opportunities as well. It is hunting. I didn't grab a repel. I'm going to keep running away. Heard the ghost interact with the door in the reception area. And again, this ghost hunted a little bit late for demon. So I'm going to probably say at this point now, double testing that it's not going to be demon. That time it hunted a minute and 37 after the repel. So hopefully we're correct with that. If you ever want to know if the hunt is actively happening or over, try to hit a light switch. If the light switch is not interactable, you have an active hunt. If the light switch is interactable, even if the power is off, you have the hunt is over. I believe the hunt's over now. Can hit the light switch perfectly. Let's go. Let's take photos of all 6 of these salt piles. There's 3 salts per container, and I drop them all on one collective area. Look at that. So we got a ghost photo, 3 photos, and another 3 photos here. Now all we need is 3 more photos, and we're good to go. This is probably the point of the round where we want to identify exactly where from this open area the ghost is coming from. So to do that successfully, we're going to bring in a thermometer. The ghost room will still be the coldest temperature in the location by far. So if you have the thermometer, you'll be able to determine that even though you're not going to get freezing temperatures because it's not an evidence round. Let's bring in a video camera too just to see if we have mimic orbs. Going to drop this right here for the time being. It's hunting right now. It almost sounds a little bit faster this time. It almost sounds just a little bit faster, so I'm wondering if it's going to be twins. Because I felt like earlier it was a bit slower, so I'm not too sure. It could be twins. Twins is either a little bit faster or a little bit slower, depending on where they hunt from and which twin you get. Twin is technically one entity, but it does go ahead and operate almost like it's 2. And it sounds like the hunt happens somewhere towards this side. Maybe green tent. Maybe this activity tent over here. Still hunting. And the hunt is over now. Let's bring one of our crucifixes over to this side. That way we can play on top of it. And we don't have to worry about the ghost spawning on top of us. And let's get our thermometer and go check for temperatures in this open area here. It's tier 3. All I have to do is right-click and hold down right-click. It'll auto-populate. 14 degrees here in the main campfire. Food tent is 8.9. We got a breath event on top of us, which means it's not going to be Oni. The coldest temperature... The ghost coming from over there. That almost sounded a little bit slower that time. We gotta go. We gotta go. Going around this reception area again. This is giving some serious twin vibes. Because the beginning of that hunt, it sounded much lower than the previous hunt did at the beginning. I'm going to check the temperature real quick since it's still hunting, but it's not here with me right now. Temperature in green tent is 14 degrees. Temperature in the activity tent is 14. I think it actually may be done hunting now because I hear it throwing stuff here. Still pretty warm over in this spot where it spawned. It's got to be maybe right here. Okay. Leaving the crucifix here. I'm going on the other side of this wall. I just want to listen. I'm going to turn off my electronics. I don't want to let it know where I am. I just want to listen to the ghost's footsteps sounds. Speaking of another crucifix, where's the other one? I thought I had it over here somewhere. My biggest culprit, my biggest struggle in Phasmophobia is where the heck did I leave my crucifixes? I'm also going to put this firelight right here in the opening, so that way if it comes this way, maybe it'll blow it out and give me my last objective, because that's the last objective we need for this game. Got a response to the ghost. I think it's safe to say it's not throwing enough to be Polter. I think Poltergeist will be throwing a lot more than this. There's so many objects out there that it hasn't touched yet. And a Poltergeist will be having a field day in that open area, so I'm going to get rid of that. Is the power still on? The power is off. At some point in time, it did turn off the breaker. So it can't be Jin. Jins can't turn off breaker. The only way that Jin could ever turn off breaker is if the ghost turned on too many lights, or you, the player, turn on too many lights to overload the breaker to accidentally trip it off. And I'm not seeing any sort of movement through that motion sensor, so the ghost is not actively roaming towards me from its ghost room over there in that area with the campfire. So I'm going to say no Banshee roaming. Troublesome. Here it's hunting right now. Yeah, this has got to be fast twin right now. It's got to be. It took off way faster than the previous hunt. Standing here so you can hear a little bit of the hunting sounds. It's just minorly accelerated compared to normal speed. Just minorly. And I know it only saw me for a split second at the start of that hunt. It didn't see me for any more than that. Ghost doesn't seem to be coming through reception to get me. So I'm just chilling here for a moment. And the hunt appears to be over. Now that I have a very confident feeling this is twins, it's time to get the rest of my objectives and the rest of my photos. Did it blow out that candle? It sure did. So when it was hunting around this area, it blew out this candle. All we need now is 3 more photos. If you wanted to find the bone to get a perfect investigation bonus, you can. And I personally don't feel like if the bone takes you longer than 5 minutes to find, your return on investment is just not there for a perfect game. You might as well go and load up a different game and get back into it and make a majority of that XP from doing your objectives and getting the ghost correct. Back to the van, we're going to grab our last salt container. Because this last salt container has 3 piles of salt. I have 3 photos that I need remaining. This one salt container can give me all 3 photos that I need, and I'm done. And at this point, to go ahead and show you the comparison between flashlight and headgear, I'm going to take a headgear, and we're going to go back inside there. You can see already, the light that comes off the headgear is good. It's not bad, but it doesn't go that far forward. So if you're on a bigger or medium map, it's not going to really help you that much, but it's able to illuminate the area around you, which is really all you need. Saw going down here. And maybe what we'll do this time around is we'll repel the ghost when it comes towards us so we can stop it from hunting for 1 minute and 30. Oh, look at this. Look at this. The ghost just lit the campfire by itself. When Bleasdale Farmhouse was released, one of the things inside the patch notes said that the ghosts were able to now light campfires, fireplaces, and firelights now on their own. And extinguish them as well. The only ghost that couldn't do that, though, was an Onryo, which makes sense because Onryos hate flames. So we just witnessed the ghost light the campfire and extinguish the campfire all on its own. Now you have the slow twin. Here's the slow twin right here. Come here, ghosty. Get that repel. And I'm running. Now it shouldn't hunt for 1 minute and 30 seconds. And I'm going to go around this way to get back to the front, and maybe it won't be there still hunting when I get there. I will say this about Maple Lodge. It doesn't have very good hiding spots. It really doesn't. But it does have a lot of walls that are just randomly there. Lots of opportunities for you to break line of sight on the ghost to get away and escape. Keeping an eye on this light switch right here. The light switch is now movable, so the hunt is over. Let's go take our photos and get on out of here. Could even take a photo of that burnt crucifix right there. Why not? 2 photos right here. The burnt crucifix photo will give you $10 and 10 XP. Whereas the disturbed salt photos and interaction photos will only give you $5 and 5 XP. Other photos that'll give you more money and more XP would be dirty water, cursed objects, and the ghost photo, of course. Let's go. I believe we may have twins. I got all my objectives completed here. All my photos. Oh, 1 star. Hold on. What? 1 star photos. Let's try to maybe do that again. Why is it 1 star? Maybe I took, you know what? I think I took a photo of the wrong salt piles. I think I took it of the wrong salt pile. I took it of the one that was close to the campfire. I needed to take salt photos that were close to where I was over on this side when I put it down. So 1, 2. There we go. We got it better. We got it. Thank goodness you had that opportunity to delete 2 photos that are not 3 stars. Lock it up. Lock it in. Let us begin another round. Twins. Let's see if we're right. Twins it was. Twins it was. It was a little bit hard to determine the ghost speed because it was a little bit further away from us on an outdoor map. So that distance between me and the ghost was pretty substantial. So I had to really get a little bit closer to the ghost to determine what it was. So thankfully we were able to do that. I did not get the bone. I don't know where the bone was. Where was the bone? Let's see. If you ever don't know where the bone is, go to detailed statistics, scroll to the very bottom. You got bone location was in Black 10. We did pass Black 10. I should have looked there. Anyway, so there you go. There you have it. We had $5,000+ in XP from that round. Let's go ahead and do another one. Let's go to random and chance fate again with Phasmophobia's RNG of what random maps are. I always get big maps. Every single time I get a big map. That's probably why I got Maple Lodge. Let's see. Willow! Oh, my favorite map in Phasmo. Let's go. I love Willow Street. It's got great looping spots, great hiding potential, even if there's no hiding potential available. It really, really is a good map for solo gameplay and group gameplay. Same load as last time. Incense, Igniter that's not going to take an inventory spot, and Salt. We're going over to the front door, dropping this stuff down there, coming back to get more. To have as much stuff on site as possible. Gonna put the Salt through the door. I usually do Salt testing later on. We definitely need to grab another Incense, more Salt. I'm gonna grab some crucifixes as well. Throw the crucifix inside the door in case the ghost hunts the moment I enter. Salt going in as well, and the other incense for later on. As I said before, setting up here the way that I do is a bit of a tedious task, but it really does save me so much time in my gameplay and increase my chance of survivability. So I do prefer it, and I don't really regret it. I noticed that I haven't left a crucifix outside here for me to bring it in and hold it. So what I'm gonna do is grab this, open the door. Where's my crucifix in there? I see it. I'm gonna pick it up as I run by. Let's start here. No evidence, no sanity, no hiding, no grace period. 3, 2, 1. It's in my main hand right now, so if the ghost spawns on top of me, it's gonna burn, and I'm not gonna get unalived. And it's going down right here. We're playing on top of our crucifix. If the ghost is inside the garage, this will give me a fighting chance to survive here. Let's see where the ghost spawns from. Now, this is interesting. It's been about a minute since I've been in this round, and the ghost has not started hunting yet. Oh, I take it back. It just started hunting now. I don't know why it took so long to get started, but now it's hunting. And I'm noticing on the floor here, I got some lights blinking. I wonder if I turn a light on downstairs. You see the lights coming through the floor there? It's definitely in the basement. This ghost is slow. This ghost is fast. Repelling. See you later. Gonna be a Revenant. The ghost that's super, super slow, but very speedy when it knows where a player is, that is a Revenant. The hunt is over, I believe. I think it started from this room here. This is where I would probably see the light shining through the floor upstairs. So it probably turned on that light, and then it started hunting there, came upstairs after me. So this is going to be Revenant right now. Again, Revenant, very, very slow player speed when it has no idea where a player is, and then it speeds up to 3 meters a second the moment it detects a player. It doesn't have to see a player necessarily to detect it. It can detect those electronics through a wall or from far distances without even seeing the player at all. So it's either from sight or from detection of any sort. Now, there's always a possibility it's a Mimic. A Mimic has an opportunity to change ghost types that it's mimicking every 30 seconds to 2 minutes outside of a hunt. Put motion sensor down here. We're going to try to get Parabolic completed as well now, so we don't have to worry about it later on. I would say the easiest ghost to determine on no evidence gameplay would be Revenant, because the footstep sounds when it doesn't see a player are just so iconic and so noticeable. A Wraith, because it doesn't walk through salt. That Phantom blinking where it's invisible for 2 seconds every time it disappears during a hunt is very, very noticeable and famous as well. Deogen always rushes to your location and it lets you know that it's a Deogen. There's no way to know that it's not a Deogen. And Poltergeist as well. I think Poltergeist is also a very noticeable ghost because it throws so much stuff during a hunt. One object every 0.5 seconds to be exact. I'm backing up. I don't want it to detect my electronics if I can help it. That way it doesn't rush this location. I did not get a parabolic response though, sadly. Gonna keep trying. I think it's going back down to the basement. And it's done. It is now done. For that whole hunt, sadly, I didn't get any parabolic response from the hunt. Now, I know roughly where the ghost room is, and I can point the tier 3 parabolic through the floor, because tier 3 parabolic will allow me to hear stuff a floor below or a floor above, whereas tier 2 and tier 1 don't give you that luxury. So I know that it's downstairs to the left and then another left, so the ghost room is roughly about here, give or take. And yes, parabolic responses are possible during an active hunt. Even a banshee scream is possible during an active hunt. So if you want to go ahead and try for that during the hunt, you're more than welcome to do so. This may be a little dangerous if they detect your electronics. I guess while we're waiting, we can set up more salt to get more photos. I have to get a photo of the ghost itself, which is going to be a little tricky since it's a revenant. But I'm going to try my best. And we're probably going to have to get it during an active hunt to make it even more severe. The ghost is coming up. Oh god, here it is. Here it is. Well, I have my photo camera right now. There you go. Here it comes. Notice that it got fast up until the last point where it detected me, then it slowed down. So it only gets fast at 3 meters a second until it gets to the point where it was able to detect you. And if you're not there when the ghost gets that spot of last detection, then it goes back to a very slow speed once again until it detects you whenever you let it detect you, or don't let it detect you at all. The ghost has stepped through all of our salt over here, which is amazing. And I'm going to grab my photo camera to start taking photos of those and try to get a photo of the ghost of this next hunt too. And this is a smaller map. We could definitely find bone as well to get a perfect game. All salt photos have been taken. Where'd that bone at? When I'm doing bigger maps and I have a revenant, if I ever have a ghost that I have not encountered at all, and I just don't hear it, I don't see it, I automatically think, could this be a revenant? Because it's probably traveling at a speed that is so slow that it's just not getting anywhere near me. That's always one thing I keep in mind when I'm playing around high school, prison, Sunny Meadows, etc. Came out of the basement out of nowhere. I had to repel and get out of there. I didn't even have an opportunity to go and react. It charged out of that basement when I walked by the door. The hunt's over. Thank goodness. That was close. I think I just heard the ghost turn off the breaker. It did. Interaction photo. Lovely. Another photo I don't have to worry about. I cannot believe this ghost hasn't given me a parabolic response yet. It is not very conversational. Also, at this point, we can determine that this ghost is not going to be a mimic, because a mimic would have changed some other ghost type by now to give me a different ability that was not the Revenant. Finally, we got it. Took a while, but we got a response. All I need now is the photo, and I need bone. I haven't found the bone anywhere upstairs, so it's got to be in the basement with the ghost, unfortunately. So I think the play here to get this photo is to let the ghost come up the staircase. When it comes up the staircase, I'll repel it, slowing it down with tier 2. I'm going to try to snap the photo, then I'm going to turn off all my electronics and run into the garage, giving me an opportunity to get out of line of sight so the ghost does not speed up more being the Revenant. It's not going to know where I went. Hopefully. Here it comes. Here it goes. Oh, she bent backward. One of those counted. I got 2 opportunities in. That one didn't count. This one did. Look at that. I got her. That was a little touchy. I didn't know if I should stick around for a second photo, but I went for it, and it paid out. The hunt's over. And I know the hunt's over because all of the lights inside of here have turned off. And all the lights you've turned on before the hunt has occurred will turn off the moment the hunt has ended. It's hunting again. Repelling. And I'm going downstairs to look for the bone. Shut the door behind me. Turn my flashlight on now. I should be out of the range for where they can detect me. Bone, are you down here? I don't see a bone here. What about over here? There it is. Bone has been acquired, chat. We got it. I think all I'm missing now is one more photo. One more photo for a perfect game. And the salt has been stepped in. Last photo has been taken. And now we have full photos. Simple as that. When the Chronicle update comes out at some point this year, it's going to make it so you only need 5 photos and there's not going to be a star rating. Instead of the star rating, you're going to have the opportunity to get duplicated photos that you've already gotten and unique photos. So to get a perfect game, it may require all unique photos, but you're only going to need 5 different ones. Let's do it. Revenant locked in. Let's go. Boom. Revenant. Perfect game. $4,449. I do love Willow for the reason that it's just so simple and straightforward, but I always get a basement ghost every time. It never fails. Thank you so much for watching this episode. I hope you found it informational, educational, and entertaining overall. If you ever want to tune in, I do a lot of this content live on my live streams. Here's our schedule on screen here. If you want to pause this video and save that schedule, you're more than welcome to do so. Or you can join our Discord. We do have a stream schedule channel, and you will get notified every single time I go live, no matter what platform it's on. Thank you again so much for being an awesome member of the Tater Talk crew. And until I see you next time, stay crispy.